Hey, what's up, guys? We'll see 69 here back at you. Got a little story I want to share with you guys. Little problem I had with old Max first gen Chevy over there. And I want to say this story probably this started going on a little over a week ago. And I just want to share with you guys just in case one of you guys may have, something similar going on with your truck, and you're having trouble trying to figure out what's going on with it. It was actually a pretty easy fix, and that's why I want to share this with you guys. So long story short, I was going to town one day. It's probably like maybe 25, 30 miles out, and all of a sudden, the truck, just started spitting, sputtering on me. I was like, oh crap, what the hell's going on? And it probably did this like 3 or 4 different times. I'm like, well, I better stop where I'm going and turn this puppy around and head back home. So I do that, and I didn't get further. I didn't get maybe 2 miles down the road, and she just like died on me. I'm like, oh shit, And then so I threw it in neutral. I was still coasting a little bit. Turned the key, fired right up, and so I'm like, all right, sweet. Put it in drive. Went down a few more miles down the road, cut out on me again. And this time it wouldn't fire back up, but I was able to get to the side of the road. And so I waited just a little bit. It was really hot out that day, guys. I want to say it was like 95. It was scorching hot. So I figured, well, maybe she's just hot a little bit. So I'll wait a little bit, and see if she'll start. Wait like 15, 20 minutes. Turned the key, fired right up. So I'm like, all right, sweet. I'll just head back down the road. So I didn't get further, maybe like 3 miles. And she just cut out on me. And this time she just wouldn't fire up. I even waited like 15, 20 more minutes. Nothing. So at that point, I just went in and called tow truck. They came and got me. It took about an hour. I was just out there in the middle of them cornfields, just absolutely cooking. But anyway, he came and got me towed home. We got it back in the driveway. Sure enough, fired right up, But then it had some time to sit, a little bit longer, It wasn't ice cold, but, it was cooled off to the point to where I want to say it's like maybe 100 degrees on the coolant temp. Anyway, so I waited a couple of days. I just let the truck sit out there. I just drove Hank for a while, the old crusty Explorer. So after waiting a couple of days, I figured, well, I'll just get out here and I'll just kind of work on it a little bit more. So I was like, it's either got to be fuel or spark, And unfortunately, I don't have a fuel pressure tester right now because the last one I had, it just broke on me. But anyway, I fired it up. It ran for a little bit, and sure enough, if I let it sit there and idle for like 15, 20 minutes, it'll start cutting out and it'll die. But it was always firing back up for some reason. I don't know why this time it was always trying to fire back up. But anyway, so I checked the fuel pump relay. I get down there. I'm laying on the ground, listening to that fuel pump, running. It seems like it's running fine, It's obviously getting gas, I think, So I got to thinking, I was like, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and change those intake gaskets out because I know that these trucks, like, they just have a problem with those intake gaskets. And, I actually had them saved in my Amazon cart for like 2 months. I just haven't bought them yet for some stupid reason. And then they're not very much. I want to say they're like $50 or whatever. So I'm like, well, I'll just go ahead and order those and we'll just go ahead and change those out. Maybe that'll help. And one of the reasons why I decided to do that is because when it was running there for a short period of time, for like 10 minutes or whatever, I figured, well, I'll go ahead and I'll see if these intake bolts are loose or not. So I get out there with a wrench, and as it was running, I tightened them all down. I want to say there's like 10 of them. Tightened them all down. And it seemed like it started to idle just a little bit better. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe for sure that's it, So wait about a couple days from Amazon, and finally I got my gaskets, and I figured, well, I'll just go ahead and knock this puppy out. So I got those gaskets. These are it right here that I got, and I went ahead and changed those out. So I got some footage of me changing those out. It really wasn't that hard. I want to say a couple hours maybe changing those out. But when I got them done and I started up the truck again, it seemed like it was running great. It's kind of stumbled there at first, because I had the fuel line disconnected. But, like after a minute, like it was running great, absolutely great. So I figured, well, I'll just let it run out here for like 15, minutes or so in the driveway and see what happens, because, last time it just cut out and died. And sure enough, I want to say maybe 10 minutes in, I was standing here, I was cleaning off the workbench, and it just sounded like someone just turned the key off, just went like that, like someone just turned the lights off, like, oh crap, So I get back in the truck, obviously I didn't fix the problem, but I get back in the truck and turn the key, fires up. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll get out. And no sooner did I slam the door, just cut right off again. And this time, it wouldn't fire back up. It just was not, it wasn't even trying to kick over. So I'm like, well, I mean, obviously that's a good thing. So now I can figure out, what exactly is going on. Either I'm not getting any fuel or I'm not getting any spark, So I did a simple little test, and I'll kind of show you guys what I did over here. Since that my fuel pressure tester broke, I figured, well, I'll just go ahead and check spark for now. Nail that out of the way. So what I did, I grabbed one of my old wires and my old spark plugs, and I just kind of undid it right here, plugged this in, and then I grounded the spark plug out up to here, this fitting right here. Where that ground strap is. And I got in the truck, tried to turn it over, and sure enough, there was no spark whatsoever. So I knew then where I needed to go, or at least, what I needed to test. So it's getting kind of late when I did that. So I went inside that night, I kind of like searched around on the internet and everything. Just trying to figure out, I got on all the different forums and stuff, and, read what other people were doing and what they were doing to fix it. And I ran across one guy. Most people, to be honest, most people were just like throwing parts at their truck. They're like throwing all new coils at it, or putting a new fuel pump in it, and or changing a bunch of emissions crap, O2 sensors, all that crap. And I didn't want to sit here and spend like $1,000, trying to figure this problem out, And I'm really glad I didn't, because what ended up being the problem, it was really simple. But anyway, so I knew I didn't have any spark. So after doing a little bit of research, I came across one guy who actually helped me out. I forget his name or whatever. I watched his video, and he did something really interesting. I noticed. I'll show you what he was doing. He was digging into this harness right here, and he was looking for a ground wire. I had that out. Oh yeah, here it is. He was looking at this ground wire right here. It was in the harness, like right about right there. Now you can see I got in there and did some work. But anyway, he was taking this wire, cutting it right here, and he's running the ground over to here. And his truck was starting. And as soon as he take that ground wire off, the truck would die. So I'm like, okay, well maybe that's my problem. So I got in this harness here, and I dug this thing out. I was looking at it, and everything looked fine. But I chased it down to where, this lead goes. And so it sat in here like this. This lead went the rest of the way in the harness over there. This lead right here actually goes to the coil pack plug that runs all 4 of these coils on this side. So I took this connector off here, and it's actually, let's see if I can get it off here. It's actually, see if I can get a good shot. It's pin A on, it's this side over here. So it's this one right here. It's pin A. I don't know if you can see the letters on there or not. There we go. It goes to pin A. And so I figured, okay, well that's got to be the ground wire for all these coils. So what I did is I just took my ohm meter. I got one of these cheap little ohm meters here, and I ran a ground. All right, guys, sorry about that. Phone got full. Anyway, so I want to check resistance of this ground, and you see I got my probe in there right now, and right now the ground's good. Like zero resistance. And then boom, you know, that I let go of the probe. Anyway, when I checked that, I wasn't getting nothing. So I knew right then and there I probably had a problem with my ground. So I did what the other guys were doing, and they were just like taking this lead right here and running another ground over to this little ground spot right here where this ground strap is that goes on the back of the engine. So I did that, and let me tell you, the thing fired right up. So right then and there, I knew that obviously was the problem that I was having. So I was really happy about that. But me being the kind of person I am, I wanted to figure out, you know, okay, where does this ground go? And, you know, I know GM, Ford, I've seen them do it before. They often like bundle the ground sometimes to those little rings. So I wanted to chase this ground down and try to figure out exactly, you know, where it went and where it failed at. So I dug through the harness a little bit more, and then I ended up cutting that old harness out. That was bad. I dug this out, and I followed this wire down. Let me pull it out here. I fired it all the way down, and where it goes, and I've seen this on other videos, they all kind of branch out right here, and it goes down, and it's usually in the loom that's connected to where the main battery wire is. Anyway, that ground wire goes all the way down there, and it breaks off right here at this point, and actually connects to the side of the engine. And there at the side of the engine was like this little ring terminal like this, and the wire was just, it was broke off. Like, it was just rotten, you know, right there at the base. Just kind of hanging by a thread, really. I mean, but it was definitely a clear break almost, and that's the end of it right there. Let me get a good picture. Yeah, you can see it's been rotten for a while. Anyway, so that's where the problem was. So what I ended up doing to fix that was I just ran, you know, a nice 12 gauge wire all the way up here to this point, and then I made a new lead going to this one and a new lead going that way. So basically, you know, I replaced this entire section right here to fix the problem, and that's what did it. You know, that's all it was to it. You know, just that simple little ring right there, no ground to these coil packs right here, was causing that intermittent problem, which, you know, I would have been stumbled for days at it, like not died. But anyway, so after getting that fixed, I ran it a couple days after that. You know, I drove around town a little bit, but I had to go out of town one day. I think that town's like 60-mile round trip altogether. And then the next day I drove it again, and that town was like about 140 miles round trip. Drove both days, not even a hiccup, guys. And I actually inadvertently fixed another problem that I was having, which I think was due to those intake gaskets. I had a P0446 code. That's one of those codes that, you know, I was having, you know, ever since I bought the truck back in February. And it just comes up as like an emissions code or whatever. And I've just been kind of ignoring it ever since. Yeah, I was working on some of the other things, you know, because when I first bought it, I had like a mass airflow sensor, a misfire, and all that other stuff. But anyway, you know, I've been working on those codes one at a time, but there's no check engine light now. So I firmly believe changing those intake gaskets out is what fixed and solved that problem for the emission code. And then, you know, obviously I did the spark plugs and wires at the same time. So that really helped out. And I also noticed another problem with, had another wire right here. Both these wires actually. One I took off a long time ago when I had a misfire, and the other one I found again. These two wires right here, I mean, they don't even click onto the damn spark plug. Like, they just fit on there loose. So that was probably also giving me more misfire problems. Anyway, it was a really simple fix, guys. So if you are having this, you know, intermittent misfire, if you are having like, if it's like cutting out on you at all, you know, the first thing I would do is check the ground on on your coil pack plug there. Like I said, it's terminal A. It's a black wire going into it. Check it to see if it's got a good ground. You could probably actually, well, I ain't gonna say that. Don't do that. Anyway, check to make sure it's got a good ground on it, and you'll know right then and there. So, I mean, if you do got a good ground, then you obviously know you need to look at something else. But if you don't have a good ground, that's what you need to do, is fix that. And like I said, it's down at the base of the side of the engine, exactly where the negative battery cable goes. So it's real easy to find. Mine is a little tough because I got these skid plates on there I had to take off. I just kind of left them off because I'm going to end up putting a new belt on this thing anyway. But yeah, so definitely check your ground first, because that was a free fix. Like, it didn't really cost me anything because I had all the stuff here that I needed to do to fix it. Because I bought a bunch of wiring stuff for Project Joey over here several months ago. So, I mean, I had all that stuff here. It was an easy fix, and I didn't end up throwing any parts at it either, So really, $50 for the gaskets at Amazon. That's about it. So, anyway, I got some shots I'll show you. And I'm going to go ahead and put these new gaskets on. I ordered these off Amazon. This is the new upgraded style for these LS truck engines. Here's part number 4. Let's see if I can get in there on there. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, if you do want to do this, use these upgraded ones. I think the old style has a different color and the new style has this color. So I'm going to go ahead and try that first. I'm going to put those on, and then I'm hoping that I don't have to pull that pump. Hopefully everything works out great, but it does look like it's going to be kind of a booger to get this intake off. I've got a bunch of wires draped across the top of it here, and it doesn't look like there's any plug, to disconnect it or anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on that, and I'll let you guys know how it works out. It's the next day, working on Project Max, the first gen, old first gen Chevrolet. Managed to get that intake manifold pulled off last night. Probably only took about a half hour. It wasn't too bad. It was really crusty in here. I had a bunch of debris and stuff. I don't know what it was. Even a couple mud dauber homes were up in here. But I got it all vacuumed out. Probably the hardest part of the whole thing was getting those damn injector little clip things off here. These guys right here, they had these stupid like little locking tabs in there, keeping them in there, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt to get them out. But this side wasn't bad. This side though, it was like facing the back, so it was really hard to get out. But all in all, it wasn't too bad to get that off. Didn't have to remove the belt or alternator or anything, just kind of like scooted it out this way. It did show a little bit of signs of leaking, like mainly oil seepage past it. It's a little crusty on the inside, but it's not too bad. I mean, that's to be expected a little bit. The gaskets definitely look like they're worn out. So we're gonna go ahead and change those first, because that's definitely the cheapest fix. Instead of dropping a tank, putting a new fuel pump in or anything, which I really don't think is the major problem yet, but I don't know, we're gonna find out. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get this intake cleaned up and get those heads cleaned off, and then we'll get it on there. All right, guys, it's been about 45 minutes or so. I did manage to get this cleaned up about as good as it's gonna get, probably, with this sitting in the engine like that. Got my vacuum in there. Tell you what, guys, if you don't have one of these little shop vacs, you need to get one. I tell you, because it's been a godsend. Use it literally for everything. And then I got this all cleaned up, got the new gaskets on, and I'm ready to install this puppy. Whew. Man, is it still hot out here? Good Lord. I managed to get the intake back on. Everything came together really nice. Wasn't too bad. It just kind of like slid right back in place. Got all the wiring back on. I left this piece off because I figured while I got everything out still, I might as well go ahead and put in some new spark plugs and some new wires. Picked these up off Amazon. Pretty decent price. Now, I know they're not like, OEM equipment, but I've never had any problems with these copper core plugs. They're a little cheaper. You just got to replace them a little more often. I ran into a problem a while back. I was having a little misfire. And the plugs that were in it, these NGK ones, I've never really used these before, but this one was cracked, so that was one misfire. I actually had 2 cylinders were misfiring, and what I found out was this wire right here well, it didn't even clip on. You can kind of hear it like ticking on the inside where it's sparking over the gap. So what I ended up doing was just harvesting a couple off of, you know, the old Explorer over here, and just to get it up and running. But since I got that little air intake thing out, I'm just going to go ahead and put the new spark plugs in, and hopefully it's run a little better. Okay guys, I'm underneath the truck right now. Right here is where that ground wire went. That was coming all the way up, coming all the way down from the ignition coil packs. Just here's that connector right here. You can see it's all weathered and everything. Doesn't look good at all. We'll go ahead and change it out. Get her going. Okay guys, I figured before I button this back up, I should probably just show you how I fix this. So if you do have the no ground issue going to your coils, basically what GM has done, this is sitting in this harness, like right here. One side goes to the right side bank and the other one goes to the left side bank, and then this, the long one, goes all the way down to the bottom of the engine block, where I showed you guys earlier. It's just rotten. It just kind of rotted right off. So what I did here, I just made some longer leads, and then I ran a big nice fat 12 gauge wire all the way up here, and then I used some of that killer heat shrink tube. I really like this stuff. I got it from Amazon. Now this is kind of double wrapped. I put two sleeves on here, one smaller one, one large one. But you can see the adhesive on there that it kind of oozes out. Yeah, this is really good stuff, guys. So I highly recommend it. I'll try to put a link in the description below. That way you guys can get some. It's really not expensive. I want to say I only paid like 10 bucks for the whole box. But anyway, and this is kind of like what I did to the eyelet down there. Just put some, I used that heat shrink connector, and then I put some of that heat shrink tubing over it, and it just kind of oozed it out, and then I pinched it when it was still warm. That way it would seal it up nice and tight. So anyway, just kind of showed you how I fixed it. Again, like I said, you'll want to look for this guy right here. It's in this harness right on the top. I think it was sitting right about right there. And that's what you want to rip out if you got the no ground issue on those coil packs. All right, guys. Well, I hope you all enjoyed Story Time with We'll See Ya. Oh, and I forgot to mention, all that gave me 2 more miles per gallon. I was sitting at 11.7. Now I'm sitting at 13.7. So I did some good. It's going to save me some money. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I really hope this helps someone out. So until next time, we'll see you.